unashamed trip down memory lane. Okay, to better times. We live in terrible times at the moment with wars everywhere and misery and riots and so forth. So let's take a trip back to the 90s.
Yeah.
Tell us about your...
And that was going on then as well. We had Thatcher, didn't we?
Well, there's the one way to look at it. Nothing ever changes, does it?
No, exactly.
It took turmoil everywhere.
I don't want to talk about politics.
So, no, okay, so tell us about that time. Not specifically about the Mondays, because I know that would be too long a detail to go into, but certainly the period of time and why Manchester, as it was known down in London where I come from.
Well, no, there's a 4-track EP by Happy Mondays called Manchester, and that's where the name comes from.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I learn something every day.
Yeah, it's
okay.
the one with Hallelujah on and rave.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But that whole scene around with Joy Division and then the Stone Roses and the Spiral Carpets, how did that come about, do you think?
Well, I know there's something special about Manchester, I think, musically and undiscovered really. A lot of people would say Liverpool, if you're going to come up north, up till then, was the big music scene because of the Beatles. But Manchester has had it's got its musical history, but something happened in the 90s and it was definitely to do with ecstasy tablets, I think, and the Hacienda and all the bands. But that was why I think we got noticed. But the music has always been great from Manchester, the musicians and everything. It's very real, very raw. The musicians are very real and raw. The lyrics are, and it was a time when it wasn't so happy then, and there was a lot of people unemployed and really sad and poor. And when you're coming out of poverty, you can write great music and you can play great music. You learn to play without necessarily having lessons. You just learn to play with your mates, and that's what a lot of people did, I think.
Okay, there is a particular, if say you were anywhere in the world and you started hearing like the Happy Mondays or in Spiral Carpets or Stone Roses, you would recognise that. There is a particular type of sound that came about. Is there any particular, like, did Sean Ryder ever mention to you that this sound that they played, that, you know, that...
Well, Sean Ryder doesn't make the sound of the Mondays, he writes the lyrics.
Oh, right, well, okay, yeah. Whatever. But is there any particular reason that sound came about?
Yeah, I think I've just explained that. I think it's because like being unemployed and just loving the music and being really real and raw. The lyrics were very, very real. The music was. A lot of people as well from Manchester, the mums and dads, Tony Wilson famously said they're the best record collections. I didn't. My mum didn't have a good record collection, but a lot of the people that lived in Manchester, they had great record collections. So they tried to emulate some of these real funky black stars, musicians, people like Bootsy Collins and the P-Funk and James Brown. And by trying to copy them or emulate them in the Motown sound, much happened in the 50s, I think, the 60s as well. They came up with this, trying to copy but not really being able to play your instruments yet and learning as you go. They came up with their own sound, and it was just really, like the Happy Mondays to me, it was like a funky white band, punk funky, because we're all influenced by punk as well. So it's just a combination. But
I've said in an interview with you, we mentioned some of the female artists who were around at the time, whether like Chrissy Hynde and Debbie Harry and all that stuff. Yeah. Those influenced you, presumably.
They did, yeah, definitely. But I couldn't see myself fronting because I was really into punk. I couldn't see what band I would be fronting because I'd come from Women's Aid Refuge. I didn't know how I could get a band together because I'd left my home, I'd left my friends. So then there was a ready-made band, Happy Mondays, and I just thought, this is the band when I saw them on Tony Wilson's show, because I could see myself with them, and it worked. And because I am at heart a punk, and that's why I think I love singing Joy Division songs.
Very punky today.
I've just put anything on stage.
Okay, it's nice to have you here.
That is what punk is. Punk isn't wearing safety pins and shit and copying. I always wear leopard skin and tartan because I always do. But today I've just put anything on because I am a punk. I've not dressed up for an interview.
Well, you learn something every day.
There you go. Punk's an attitude, not fashion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
thank you.
So, what age did you realise that you could sing, and what age did you realise, or how long after that did you think that I want to be in a band, or I want to be singing on stage, or I want to be in videos, or I want to be...
I've never wanted to do all that. No, I never got in any choirs. I didn't sing when I was a kid, and my mum told me to shut up. So I don't know when somebody heard me sing when I was about 13. But
singing in a pub or something?
Something like that, probably. Not really, though, just singing along. I was looking after a lady who was dying of cancer, sang along to her records, and she said she ran a pub. She said, go downstairs and sing, and then I became addicted to that audience the feeling of they all got goosebumps and things. And
you like the spotlight?
No, it wasn't the spotlight, it was the feeling I gave people. Don't like the spotlight at all.
All right, okay. You mentioned the Hacienda a moment ago, which of course features in Mancbeth. It was a mix together of the two, of Macbeth and Manchester and the Hacienda scene and the drug scene
It's
that was
a great
going on
name.
at the time. We were in a marvellous script produced by David Lumberg. So tell us about that time, and tell us how much Hacienda featured in the nighttime culture of Manchester.
Well, I didn't come to Manchester until 1987, 88 because I was in Bury in a bad marriage. So I started singing in Manchester about 88, 89, and then had a dance tune out. So the first time I went to the Hacienda would have been when I lived in a refuge, and I just thought I want to be like those girls over there. So it was different for me. I'd heard about it, but it wasn't a big scene for me until I joined the Mondays, really. Late 89 is the first time I properly went and saw...
Did they almost live there?
Pardon?
Did they almost live there?
No, we were touring, we were a bit busy.
Oh, okay.
Probably before I joined, they probably did, but yeah, no, we used to, as soon as we came back, I mean, we'd be away for a couple of weeks touring, and the first thing we do is go back to Hacienda, even though I had children, it was night time. I'd go to Hacienda before I went back and took my kids to school the following morning. It felt like home. We sat in the same corner all the time, the Mondays and a lot of the other bands, and it was just, yeah, a lot of us didn't dance. Like a lot of the kids were dancing on the dance floor to every tune, but I loved the music, and I'd go to the DJ and go, this sounds like me, and it sometimes was because he used to sample you.
Okay.
And it was just a great night, but it felt like home. It was more to me, it felt like a youth club.
Right. You knew everybody, basically.
Well, I ended up doing it. I didn't know anybody when I first went in, and I wanted to be that girl that knew everybody like I used to when I used to live in Bury, and I became that girl probably 1990, and people were going, oh, it must be great being you with all these lads. I know, well, it must be amazing touring the world, but it's not as good, obviously, as it looks. It's good, but it's
different.
Challenging.
It's different from
Yeah.
Doing a 9
A lot of them girls
doing a
wouldn't.
9 to 5 job, isn't it? Or being a secretary.
Well, I come home, I had young babies to look after, so it suited me. I like it. Like I say, it felt like a youth club. I love going around with lads anyway. So, but a lot of girls couldn't have handled it. It was all the drug addictions and stuff, and it got a bit heavy. But I did love it. In the early 90s, it was brilliant.
Okay, as I say, even in London, the Manchester music effect was known and was heard, and people knew that something was
They were all coming from London. They were coming from London to sign everything that moved from Manchester in about late 90.
That's interesting.
They were signing everything, even if they weren't good. They were going, are you from Manchester? They would sign them. And
what was the representation back there? Was Tony Wilson involved in it? Was he doing deals for bands?
Not really, no. That's Factory. Factory didn't do it like... It was the London companies who were coming up to Manchester to try and discover the next Happy Mondays, the next Stone Roses. They'd be signing anything, and yeah, no, because Tony Wilson was it. He's what they wanted to emulate. But no, Tony just only signed people he wanted to, and it was never about money for Tony. It was about the art, the work, and the people.
They featured Joy Division, who've not really mentioned that much in your set for the 40th of September at the Band on the Wall in Manchester.
No,
why do where we are now? So why did you choose them to sing? Do you have a particular fondness for their music, or is it easy to sing, or does it fit with your timbre, as it were?
Well, I've sung Joy Division for years now with Peter Hook and the Lights. So we had in 2011 we brought out an EP that did really well, but we did the full works of Joy Division at the church in Macclesfield that Ian Curtis went to. And yeah, when Peter Hook first suggested that I sang Joy Division, I didn't get it. I didn't want to sing Lovely Terrors apart. Heard it sung really badly by a lot of people as well, covered. But he asked me to sing Insight at the Hard Rock Cafe in Manchester, and I didn't know it, so I learnt it. And I didn't know whether it'd go down terribly or not. All I knew is he'd asked a lot of men to sing with him, and they'd all said no because they were worried about internet criticism. Well, I didn't give a shit about internet criticism. If I either can sing it or I can't, I either do it justice or I don't, because I'm from Manchester and I don't know unless you try something. I wanted to see, and nobody threw bottles at me, and it was great. But then when he asked me to sing for the opening of Factory 251, I think it's called, on Princess Street, it was Atmosphere that I learned then, and New Dawn Fades, and he asked me to do a couple of others, but those are the ones he said I'd do. And then it was a different thing, because Atmosphere, there were people crying in a nice way, and New Dawn Fades just really suits my voice. And then we did something at the Arena, Manchester versus Cancer, with an orchestra, and with James, the band James, and I did a duet with Tim Booth for Atmosphere, and it was just magical. And Ian Curtis's daughter was there taking photos at soundcheck.
Oh, nice.
It was really special. And then we did it again, but then I did another song, Colony, which is my favourite song to sing. It's just incredible. That's when I was a little girl and wanted to be a punk. Colony would be the song I'd want to sing. But as I say, I'm always asked to sing Atmosphere. I've sung it at a few funerals now as well, sadly, and memorials. But yeah, and I know the effect it has on people. But the most exciting song for me to sing is Colony. It's just beautiful.
And all these songs will feature on this event.
I don't know about Colony. I'm trying to persuade them. Definitely New Dawn Fades and definitely Atmosphere.
Okay.
And I'm going to do some house tunes as well to give you a bit of a Hacienda feel, because that's what I do. I do Hacienda nights now.
It's a bit late for an old man like me, so you better sing them early.
I'm not that young myself.
Well, very good, Rowetta. So we'll see you at the 4th of September at the Band on the Wall.
It's going to be a great night.
To support the Mancbeth launch event. Very
Can't
good.
wait.
Really nice to meet you.
Thank you, you too.